Back in.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Turns out it was a good idea to hang out with Carl today. After texting back and forth with Leo, I learned that he's actually planning a birthday party for the Ram. It's a little weird since Carl's birthday isn't for another month, but I guess it's just an excuse to have a party. Leo tells me to keep Carl distracted for the day while they go shopping for decorations and gifts. He also tells me that he'll get my gift for Carl, which is fine with me. TJ's pretty bummed, though, considering it throws off his hiking plans, but Jenna promises him they'll at least hike half the trail. I want to talk to him, but he's acting pretty cold towards me, probably because I'm bailing on my promise to go with him. I drive to Carl's house because it's pretty far separated from the rest of Echo, up against the foothills of the Casa Demonio mountain range. It probably takes me 15 minutes to get up there, and there's no way in hell I'm doing that in this heat uphill when I've got a car. The main reason it's separated like this is because Carl's house is a mansion. Carl's family is loaded, a legacy that's followed them ever since Carl's great-whatever struck it rich over 100 years ago. James Hendricks eventually went on to start an ice cream business which, at this point, has spread out over most of the western half of the country. Carl's mom is the CEO, I think. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I should probably get some shots of the mansion considering its role in the town's history. Most of the old mansion has been demolished at this point, but I think parts of it are still from the original structure. Probably best to ask first, though. I walk up to the front door and ring the doorbell, listening to the fancy chime inside. I wait for a minute, starting to wonder if Carl is asleep, or just high off his ass, when I hear some voices from behind the house. I definitely recognize the cracky timbre of Carl's voice, along with the high tenor of Flynn's. I head around the house, stepping carefully through the desert landscape and walking into the backyard.
'Cause you want to make out with him? No, because you like to make things weird. I just wanted to be relaxed.
That's when Carl notices me as I round the corner, clutching my camera bag to my side. He's leaning over a bush.
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 With a bush.
He's leaning over a bush with a giant set of clippers while Flynn lounges up against the wall, watching him.
Sunning himself. Whoa, Chase!
Carl's ears perk and he grins.
Sorry, Flynn.
Carl rolls his big head at the lizard.
Was supposed to be watching for you.
Flynn doesn't look at me right away, instead choosing to pull the toothpick he's chewed on out of his muzzle to look at it. He's still embarrassed about yesterday. Good. That's alright. Wasn't hard to hear you guys from the front.
Yeah, just doing some yard work, obviously.
He rubs behind his head.
Promised my parents I'd get this done before they got back.
Carl starts snipping at the bush again. He's unusually sharp right now. I'm guessing because he hasn't had anything to smoke. Either way, it's jarring to see him so animated. Well, looks like you're doing a good job.
Oh, He's only moving this fast because he wants to hang out with you, Chase.
Even though the sentence is technically being said to me, I feel like Flynn's directing it at Carl. Carl furrows his brow.
Chase, you can go inside if you want. The back is open.
I think that's a good idea because it's clear now that I've walked in on an argument.
You should have seen him a few minutes ago. It was like he had a girlfriend coming over.
Carl sighs loudly and his snips start to get a bit more violent.
No, I'm just glad to have some company that isn't only you, Flynn.
Flynn looks annoyed, and that annoys me. He really didn't have the right to be frustrated with anyone after yesterday.
Really? Always seems to be enough for you in the past.
Flynn makes a kissy face. I have no idea if this is one of their inside jokes or not. Carl stops snipping for a second, then starts up again, moving slowly. More slowly.
Well, lizards can be fun, but they don't have all the parts that I like, if you know what I mean.
Carl smirks sideways at Flynn. Flynn sneers back, and though I've decided that they're still joking, there's definitely a growing tension between them.
What you saying there, Carl?
Carl stops snipping the plants and points at the clippers. Carl stops snipping and plants the point of the clippers into the ground, leaning on it as he turns to face Flynn.
What I'm saying is you've got no ball.
Before Carl can finish his sentence, Flynn turns to the right, away from him. This also brings his fat tail around to slam into Carl's crotch with a whap that makes me cringe. Carl jumps, then squeaks before toppling to the ground.
Oh man! My nuts! Yeah, definitely wish I had those. All dangly and vulnerable and shit. Anyway, I'll leave you two sluts alone.
Flynn sticks the toothpick back in his muzzle, and I have to consciously try to not cover my crotch while he walks by me. He hasn't looked at me this whole time. Once Flynn's gone, I sidle up to Carl, who's still curled up on the ground holding himself while he mutters under his breath. You alright?
No.
There's really not anything I can do, so I rub his shoulder with a toe comfortingly, and he freezes up.
I think you put the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yeah, the wrong emphasis. So I rub his shoulder with a toe comfortingly, and he freezes up as I do so, looking at my foot.
Oh man, my only weakness. I'm alright, though.
That is one thing I'll never get. Is people like I don't understand foot fetishes, but you know what, viewer, if you have one, fantastic. I'm glad you have something that you enjoy.
You get up on it, you get it in, oh yeah.
He gets himself into a sitting position before he gets up awkwardly, standing bow-legged. I forgot how much Flynn likes to hit people in the nuts.
I'll get him back. It still hurts him if you hit him hard enough.
As he stands there, doubled over with his paws on his knees, I look around. Carl's house has actual grass in the back, which is rare in Echo. Most people either xeriscape or just let the sagebrush take over. Another rarity are the 2 tall trees on either side of the yard. That's when I notice how empty one of them looks. Hey, where'd the treehouse go? Carl follows my gaze.
Oh, yeah, my dad took it down a few years ago. It was falling apart.
His dad also built the treehouse. I can remember hanging out up there, playing on our portable game consoles with a fan on full blast. Even then, it was almost too hot to hang out up there. I walk up to the base of the tree and put my hand against the trunk, grinning. Man, remember all the shit we did up there? Carl shuffles up next to me, still bow-legged, and grins too.
Yeah, good times. Ugh.
I think about climbing it, but I notice that the branch we used to use as a foothold has been cut off. Your dad ruined this thing. Carl scrapes at the spot where the branch used to be with a hoof.
Yeah, I guess it made the mowing harder, and we didn't use it anymore, so he just cut it off.
I can see Carl's looking for a way up, too, and soon enough his eyes settle on a branch just above his head. I don't know if Carl's already jumping to grab onto the branch with both paws. It doesn't look very sturdy. Dude, that's gonna break!
So? I'm fucking fat. I'll bounce.
I'm about to tell him again that the branch is definitely going to break when I notice his shirt riding up all the way over his round belly. It's not like he's a bag of lard, though. It's a controlled type of gut, held tight with the muscles underneath pulling in as he flexes. He notices me staring right away and kicks out at me playfully.
Pervert! First my moves and now this.
I jump back as he tries to follow me with a bigger swing of his leg, and that's when the branch snaps loudly. Carol goes down once again, landing squarely on his back.
Oh!
I cover my face instinctively, but I still hear the hollow thud followed by the whoosh of breath going out of his lungs. Slowly, I lower my paws and find the chubby ram rolling back and forth on the ground, eyes wide as his mouth hangs open. A distant memory comes to mind of a time when we were both 10 and Carl was showing me a trick with his new bike ramp. The handlebars ended up in his gut and he landed and when he landed the handlebars ended up in his gut when he landed, and he spent the following minutes rolling around on the ground just like this. Good times. Shit. I suck in air through my teeth and kneel next to him again, patting him uselessly. After a few seconds of hesitation, I reach over and grab the front of the waistband of his shorts and pull up on it. Even though he's completely deflated, he looks at me with a bizarre expression and swats at my paw, giving a few breathless snorts as he tries to laugh. Hey, it's supposed to help you breathe. I've seen coaches do it at school. I'm realizing that Carl's way too heavy to arch up like that, so I give up and end up just petting his stomach, wishing I could help somehow. Just stretch out. His breath is already coming back, but he follows my instructions anyway, and we sit there for a while, the silence punctuated by his heavy breathing. I start laughing. Jesus Christ, Carl. Jesus Christ, Carl. Can you go one day without hurting yourself? He chuckles too, his belly shaking under my paw.
Now you know why I don't go outside. Ugh.
He slumps back for a while, taking in deep breaths before lifting his head again. He looks down his chest at my paw and grins.
Seems like you can't keep your paws off me, though.
I move my paw, letting him pull down his shirt as he grunts and sits up. How about I just let you suffocate next time?
I almost did, laughing while I couldn't breathe. I thought you were trying to grab my dick.
I put my paws on my hips. Is it because I'm gay?
That might just be it.
Carl grabs the branch that had broken off the tree and quirks up the corner of his mouth.
Oh, my dad's not gonna be happy about that.
Who cares? It's just a branch.
You know my dad.
He gets up and tosses the branch over the fence into the desert, and then turns back to me.
So now that it feels like Lucha fucking Lobo just gave me the quebradadore con giro, I think I'm done for the day. Want to work on your project now?
I'd honestly rather just hang out here with Carl, but the sun's enough to put a damper on that. Carl's house is like a labyrinth. I think he once told me that it has over 30 rooms, which is fucking insane. The living room is about 5 times larger than the one in my parents' house, and it's hard to miss what looks like a 100-inch flat-screen TV against the wall. That was a 90-inch flat-screen TV. How can I help you? Those of you who know Hellsing Abridged. According to Carl, the first mansion was even bigger than that. After getting a drink, he leads me straight downstairs into the basement. Down the hallway, we pass a small home theater, what looks like an entertainment room with a bar, and then a small gym. The quick glance I get shows at least 10 fitness contraptions. After that, things get a little more dingy, and I can see how portions of the foundation could be decades old. Finally, at the end of the hall, Carl opens up a door, and I can see from the ceiling that it's right under the stairs we came down on. Carl waves his paw around and finally grasps something before pulling. An old light bulb comes on, and I see there's a little door with a small latch on it. He opens it, and I'm greeted with the musty smell. I'm greeted with a musty smell as Carl slides through the opening. I follow tentatively, making sure I'm not walking into cobwebs. Are there a lot of spiders down here?
I don't think so. We sprayed a few weeks ago.
It's extremely dark, and I hear Carl grunting next to me.
Ugh. There's a flashlight. There's a floodlight here somewhere. Here it is.
I was kind of expecting there just to be a massive spider like right next to the screen. That would have been perfect.
Just like on the screen, just massive, and just has Chase just going, ah!
Even better, you know how there's those black bars on the sides? The spider looks like its legs are coming and resting on those to really freak out the player.
Oh yeah.
Looks like it's coming out of the screen at you. Everything in this like everything in this house, It's big for a crawl space. Pillars sprout out, pillars sprout from the ground in two rows that stretch back almost into the darkness. The ground is covered in a tarp, and I see dozens of plastic bins lining the walls. This is a lot of shit.
Yup. It's a few generations worth of shit.
I walk over the tarp to look into one of the bins, but all I can see is clumps of cloth and towel through the cloudy plastic. Carl walks past me straight towards the back of the crawl space, his big hooves clopping loudly.
I actually helped them sort through all this stuff last year, so I think I know where it is.
I follow him, but it's hard to see in the darkness. Should we get a flashlight?
Nah, it's only in 2 tubs, I think. We'll just pull them to the front.
I stand off to the side as I watch him push bins around, looking at the labels on top. I look over at one of them and see Home Movies written on it, and it's filled with cassettes.
Don't remind me.
I look up and see that Carl's noticed me staring at the bin. What? Carl grunts as he lifts up a bin and drops it pretty carelessly on to the floor. I'm pretty sure I hear something break.
Mom had me help her convert all that to digital. Took all fucking year.
Wow.
Yeah. It's in the cloud now. You're actually in a lot of these videos.
Huh? Really?
Yeah. Birthday parties and shit.
Of course I would be. Carl's dad practically had a video camera glued to his eye back in the day. I used to hang out at Carl's almost as much as I did Leo. I used to hang out with Carl almost as much as I did with Leo once we started going out. I even went on their family vacation a few times. But then me going out with Leo changed things. Looking back, I think Carl was kind of unhappy with that. Aw.
We can watch a few once we're done here if you want.
Sure. That sounds like an old person thing to do, but I'm curious.
Found it!
Carl slides out 2 plastic bins and I see history written on top.
Help me carry one.
Carl lifts up the top one and starts waddling back to the front. I bend over and lift the second one, and I'm surprised how fucking heavy it is. I'm worried I'm not even going to get it off the ground for a few seconds, but I manage after a while. If Carl's bin is as heavy as mine, then he's a fucking beast at being able to carry that around, carry it like that. I stagger after him, almost certain that I'm going to go head first into the wall. Once we make it back near the stairs, I bend over and set my bin down, and that's when I see a massive spider sitting on the lid. It takes about half a second for me to recognize the black shape and spindly legs. Oh, fuck! I scream and I drop the bin before I know it, I'm halfway back from where we came, panting and shivering.
Holy shit, what happened?
I tremble and try to steady my voice. A fucking spider!
What? You're really still scared of those? Man, for a second I thought my sister came home and then got murdered. You screamed like a bitch.
You
Bitch. Sorry.
You told me there weren't any.
I didn't say that. I just said we sprayed.
Just get rid of it. At this point, Carl walks over to the spider, picks it up by the thorax, and eats it. See?
Tastes like chicken mixed with weed.
At this
It's
point,
an edible.
yeah, it's an edible spider. That's how he makes all of his edibles. He just captures a bunch of spiders and just puts them in one of those portable vessels and.
Yummy.
At this point, I've shuffled a bit closer back to the lid, and I can see Carl grinning as he bends over to look at the lid of the bin.
Whoa, it's got babies on its back.
My body gives a violent, involuntary spasm, and I shake my paws like a fucking girl. No! Stop it!
You peeked out.
He's like, no! Stop it! He glances up at me, with that stupid smile still on his face.
Wow. That was gay. But seriously, it's got a bunch of tiny babies on its back. I think it's a wolf spider.
Those aren't that
You should
big.
come look at it real close.
Yeah, you should get. You know that thing where it has that
You should touch
image
it.
where it has two people and they're literally seeing eye to eye? Yeah, you should do that.
Hmm.
Don't worry, I got something for this. I've got something.
Oh. Are you going to
Yeah.
share it on your stream?
That one, everyone. That's how close you should get to it. Okay, now that I remember.
Hey, share that. If you can, share it on
In
our
Discord.
Discord so I can get it and put it before everyone.
There you go.
Oh, God.
That's how close you should get to it. Eyes wide open. I swear, I'm gonna pass the hell out if he doesn't stop talking. I cover my face. Man, this is like the most girly thing you can do. You know, it's like,
Please.
no, make it go away.
Sounds like our cat David.
No, no. I cover my face. Please. Oh my God, he actually does it. Please. No. Make it go away.
All right. I didn't know you were that scared of them. Fuck. You should probably get that checked out.
Considering that I almost crashed my car into the garage of my parents' house when a spider crawled out of the AC, he was probably right. Just kill it.
Why would I do that?
I watch as he tilts the bin sideways. I also notice the puddle of water. I also notice the puddle of steaming water at my ankles.
It's not gonna hurt anyone.
I want to tell him that those babies are going to grow into 100 more giant wolf spiders. But I realize I'd just come off as a bloodthirsty asshole, so I bite my lip as I watch the black spots skitter off into the darkness. I walk back towards Carl, hugging my shoulders as I try to control the chills running through me. Now I'm going to be paranoid the whole time that it's going to come back out to get me. Carl rubs my back when I stand next to him.
You know, they actually clean up a lot of other bugs that get into the house.
Yeah, well, I'd rather be covered in ants than spiders. It's clear he's trying not to laugh at me as he starts popping the lid off the bin. On the top are a few framed pictures, and under those are a few more cardboard boxes. I release the latches on the other bin, and keeping my eye out for any black spots that might jump out at me. This one's filled with bundles wrapped in cloth or paper. Carl drags his bin to the other steps. Yeah, Carl drags his bin to the steps so that he can sit on them, and I follow suit.
So, how do you think you'll use this stuff?
I unwrap a smaller bundle and look at the gold pocket watch underneath. Wow. Well, not totally sure. Depends on what we find. Might film a few things? There's a paper tag attached to the chain with Robert Hendricks written on it. Who's this? Whose is this? Carl gives it a glance.
No idea. Probably a great uncle or something.
I wrap the pocket watch and reach back into the bin to pull out the next item. There's something really cool about old stuff. My mind wanders to who might have made it, who bought it, and how much shit it must have seen. History was my first. History was my first choice in Moija. History was my first choice to major in, but Dad put a stop to that pretty quick. I pull out various other things, dolls, a pipe, coins, another pocket watch. I feel like this is worth a lot of money. Why don't they sell it?
Probably, but it's family stuff. And I still think they want to do the museum.
He gives an awkward cough.
Besides, we already got plenty of money.
He's got the binder open, looking at black and white photos beneath the plastic.
Hey, this is him, right?
He points at a picture of a very dignified-looking ram, thumbs in his vest, wearing one of those big top hats. A fox stands next to him in a similar pose. I can see a piece of yellowed paper set behind the photo and tug it out. James Hendricks. Yep, definitely him. And John Begay. Huh. That's Jenna's last name. Carl's phone starts buzzing, and he grunts as he leans back to pull it out of his pocket.
Hey, Mom. Helping Chase with this project. No, Of course not.
I look over at him, but he gets up and clops back to the steps. Looking back down at the picture, I wonder if it's just coincidence, but I don't think so. Jenna's family has been in Echo since the beginning, too. So this guy definitely has to be a relative of some kind. I take a picture of the photograph with my phone. I'll show it to Jenna later and ask if she knows anything about it.
To do that without a car!
Carl raises his voice, so I look back up the steps, wondering if I should close the door. Hearing him angry like that just didn't feel right. His parents were always hard on him, but I guess they had their reasons. I spend the next 20 minutes shuffling through the bins, trying to be careful not to break anything. I decide I have enough and put the lids back on the bins, lining the stuff I picked out alongside them. I decide I have enough to put the lids back on the bins, lining the stuff I picked out along one of the steps, since I don't have anywhere else to put them. By the time I head back up into the actual basement, Carl's gone. As I approach Carl's room, I smell it before I even open the door. He's reclined on his bed, an arm thrown over his face, the big window above him open. Clothes are scattered all over the room, all over the floor, along with a few empty water bottles and bowls. Every inch of the walls are covered in posters, like I remember, along with a few on the ceiling. Bookcases line the opposite wall, filled to the brim with comics and toys. He raises up his arm as I walk in and smiles.
Sorry about the mess, dude. It's hard to keep everything clean when my parents aren't here to yell at me about it.
A lazy, crackly sound in his voice has returned, full force. His eyes are distant. It's okay. Are you okay? He grins toothily.
dude. I'm more than okay.
Since there's nowhere else to sit, I end up sitting down at the foot of his bed. Do they let you smoke in here? The smell in his room is layered and old, like the walls have been blanketed in the smell several times before.
Yep. They gave up trying to stop me. Better to be in the house rather than getting caught by some cops outside. They just made me promise that I wouldn't ever try something harder. Good thing they don't know I've already tried dick.
He puts a lot of emphasis on K, as the bad joke seems to just dribble out of his mouth, out of his muzzle.
Try dick.
I lean back on the bed, and that's when I notice his flat screen. Just a 48-inch is on, and a list of video files displayed on it. What you watchin'?
Oh.
Carl grunts as he sits up and reaches for a game controller.
Our old home movies. Was gonna show you some of them. How about a birthday?
Sure. He scrolls down the list, then stops when Carl's 8th is highlighted and presses play. The backyard was an hour. The backyard I was in an hour earlier pops up on the screen. Now, a long table sits in the middle of the lawn, along with a massive bounce house. And not just any bounce house, but a giant 2-story one that you'd find at a state fair. The video is timestamped April 19th, 2002. Fuck, I remember this. There are about 20 kids, mostly in the bounce house, and most of whom I've forgotten. Right now, though, the camera is zooming in on an 8-year-old Carl. He's messing with a giant Nerf gun, the kind that no kid ever gets because it's so damn expensive. And that's when an 8-year-old me enters the picture, holding a much smaller Nerf gun. His parents gave everyone a goodie bag that day. It had toys in it that I might not have been able to get on my own birthday. My kid self pulls the gun to Carl's head and pulls the trigger, the dart bouncing off one of his horns. I specifically remember that moment. I had thought the suction end of the dart was going to stick, but of course it didn't. The audio is filled with a deep chuckle, Carl's dad behind the camera.
You were a dick back then.
What? I was 8!
Still, you blew out my candles.
Oh yeah. He got so mad about that. I started to settle back and smile. It's been a long time since I've watched a home movie, and I'd forgotten how nice it is to have this method of looking back. Kinda like when I got stuck on scrolling through all the old images on my phone. My younger self is trying to help Carl with the gun, lifting up the barrel and looking into the opening. Careful. Kid Chase pulls his head back with a jolt as Carl's dad yells, then mutters something behind the camera. Let's see how long it takes him to trick Carl into trading with him. Carl's dad sounds exasperated but good-natured. It still makes me blush a bit, knowing how aware Jim was of my taking advantage of his son. Our struggles with the Nerf gun get the attention of another kid, though. My breath catches in my throat as Sydney bounces into frame. I can feel Carl tensing up next to me, too, and he starts to lean for the game controller. And then comes the Mormon boy. The disgust in Carl's dad's voice shocks me, and I hear Carl whisper a curse next to me as he fumbles for the controller. Sydney reaches out and pulls the gun away from Carl as he looks it over, grinning. Hey. Suddenly, the screen twitches to a file menu, and we both sit there in silence for a few seconds.
Sorry, I guess I forgot that.
Of course, Sydney was going to be at that party, but I'd honestly forgotten, too. If there was any way to perfectly ruin the mood, that had been it. I glance over at Carl and I see him looking down at the gamepad, ears lowered, the insides red. Hey, it's okay. I mean, maybe it's a good thing to watch.
My dad. I didn't know he'd say that. I'd rather not find out what else he said.
Oh, yeah. I look around, trying to find something, anything to distract us from what just happened. My eyes fall on shelves holding Carl's game library. Want to play a game? It's just like old times as we co-op through Winter Castle. The fact that he still has the old save file from when he was in college makes it all the more nostalgic. I get so into it that it gets dark outside without me even knowing. Pretty soon I'm looking out at the purple sky reluctantly. That time I got back. Carl sighs and pauses the game before stretching and dropping the controller onto his bed.
Oh, come on. Sure you can't stick around?
I don't know. I don't have any clothes or toothbrush.
We can walk over and get them.
Carl seems pretty determined to make me stay, and there's not one reason why I can't, so I relent. Yeah, alright. Yeah, this could be fun.
Yes!
Yosh! Carl looks happy, almost relieved.
It'll be just like old times!
He rolls to his hooves.
And speaking of old times, let's make pizza!
I've suddenly caught Carl's enthusiasm. We go into the massive kitchen and pull a big frozen pizza from the fridge, and while it bakes, we sit on the counter and talk. At this point, the haze of pot has lifted from Carl's face, and he's animated and excited again, swiveling on one of the counter stools. For the first time in almost 10 years, I'm giddy and excited in a way that you only get when you're at a sleepover. That makes it a little jarring when he pulls out some beers, but I'm happy to have a few, and we guzzle them down as we talk about past sleepovers. Pretty soon, our reminiscing drifts into the present, and that's when the conversation slows a bit, Carl having less to say. I try to change the subject and tell him that he should come back to school. He just smiles and shakes his head.
Nah, man. No, man.
3 hours later, we're both laying back on Carl's bed, head to toe, having just watched a shitty action movie. We didn't end up going out to get my stuff, so I'm just in my boxers, pleasantly drowsy and buzzed. I hear Carl snuffle and lay down my chest at him. Oh, look down. I hear Carl snuffle and look down my chest at him. What's up?
Clean those glasses, friend Muir.
It's probably the energy drink, who knows? He looks over at me and shrugs.
None. Just thinking.
About what? During our past sleepovers, Carl's always been afraid to be the last to fall asleep. He'd try to keep me up by talking, rolling over on top of me, and sometimes just throwing shit at me. I wonder if that's what he's doing now.
I don't know. Life?
That's a lot to think about.
Not for me.
I look over at him again. He's holding one paw up, looking through his fingers at the ceiling fan. You're just figuring things out. Carl lets his arm flop back down over his head, blowing out a sigh.
I'm not figuring things out, man.
I don't say anything. It's cool that he's reaching out to me, but I'm not sure if I can offer any advice that he hasn't heard before.
I just wish I could be doing something.
I think for a moment. You've done a lot more than some people I know. I mean, your art is great. You did go to school even if you dropped out, and you were working while you could. There are a lot of people out there who can't even say that. Carl laughs, but it's a sad kind of laugh.
Try saying that to my mom. She's always got something to do. Always wants to do something. I just don't feel that.
He turns his head towards me.
I wish I did, Chase. But I just can't.
His voice catches in his throat, and I shrink a bit into the bed and pretend not to notice. The beer we've had is definitely partly to blame for this. He turns his head towards the wall, though, and I'm guiltily relieved that when he talks again, his voice is under control.
I just wish it wasn't such a goddamn chore for me to go outside, you know?
I didn't know, but I nod anyway, even if he can't see. He's waiting for me to say something, though, so I clear my throat.
Which one are you gonna choose? You have a problem, or it's fine?
I mean, if it's a chore for him to even just go outside and do anything, then that's a problem. But
That's a pretty big fucking problem, yeah.
if he's just doesn't care, I mean, he obviously does care. Let's go with you have a problem. Don't take this the wrong way, but maybe you should see a therapist. He snorts and finally turns his head back at me, his horns bumping the wall loudly.
Huh. I already do. I thought they'd just give me a pill to make things better, but apparently I have to actually make an effort too. And I'm like, isn't that why I'm seeing you? For the whole making an effort thing?
I laugh along with him. By the way, just as an aside for everyone, therapists don't fix you. Psychologists and psychiatrists don't really fix you. The pills that they give you, the medicines that you'll get from a psychiatrist, those aren't to fix you. Those are to help mitigate these issues while you work through those issues and fix them on your own. We give you the tools that you need to help you recover. We don't fix you. We are not...
Go
ahead.
Go ahead.
We are not magicians. We are not wizards. We cannot just cast a spell and you're fixed. Like that isn't how this works. Go for it.
The drugs and the pills and everything they give you, it's to help you feel better so that you can start working through the issues. There's a big reason why people that have severe depression, when they're given drugs and pharmaceutical treatments that they have a higher tendency to unalive themselves then, because while they're very depressed, they have no energy. So they don't have the energy to unalive themselves. So when the pharmaceuticals kick in and depression goes away and they have more energy, they do have more energy, and they still have the thoughts, the bad things that go along with depression, including the desire to maybe unalive themselves or try. And now that they actually have the energy required to do so, that's when they do try it. That's why it's so important that they need social support, they need friends, they need lots of other things so that they can develop the coping strategies and the networks and all the other things that they need to be able to deal with their life better and actually deal with the issues that come out of, dealing with depression. So that's one thing with Carl here is he does all the marijuana so much. He even says he's not as animated when he does them, and the marijuana helps calm him down, maybe clear his mind, and then when the drugs wear off, he has more energy. That's kind of the danger part. If he gets really, really depressed and he has the intrusive thoughts of just end it all, just stop it, just quit. That's when he's at his most dangerous. That's when he needs a friend like Chase to come by and be like, just lie to him, just nodding in the dark. I mean, like, yeah, I understand. When in the back of his mind, he's like, I have no idea what he's talking about, but I want to support my friend.
Yeah, pretty much. The thing is,
unfortunately,
guys,
you can only do that for so long sometimes.
Yeah.
But especially if you're encouraging someone to, get treatment and, their idea is like it won't help, or like in Carl's case, going to treatment is the effort. It's like, no, that's gonna help you start. That's your guide to you figuring it out. They don't. Carl's counselor or therapist won't fix Carl.
Yeah.
Carl has to fix Carl, and the counselor is only there to guide you. And there's lots of different methods too that are in there. I'm sure everyone's heard of Sigmund Freud. That's a whole realm of psychology, but there's a whole lot of other ones, including a lot that are based more on actual adjustment of your behavior and your thinking patterns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's why I emphasize this with a friend we have, and you should have it emphasized. If you have gone to counseling and it didn't work, it doesn't mean that it won't work. It just means you need a different counselor, maybe you need a different type of counseling, because you could do Freudian, Freudian, do Alderin, you could do cognitive behavioral. There's like the Jungian, is that it? Like Carl Jung?
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of different psychologists out there and theories. So if one doesn't work for you, don't get too demotivated. Just look into, just maybe ask someone in the field like what they think a good proper treatment would be, like which field you should go into based on what's going on, and maybe they can give you some better direction. That way you can find the best counseling theory and method for you.
Yeah, and to build on that, like most therapists and psychologists or psychiatrists that you will meet, they know how to do at least typically 2 or 3 different styles. The big ones that you'll run into, if it's like something that's more long term, there's something called psychotherapy, which is like talk therapy. You literally just come in and talk to them about issues. They ask you a bunch of questions and stuff. There's cognitive behavioral therapy, which is where really you're kind of just, they are trying to teach you how your thoughts work and how you can start noticing thought patterns. So like, you really take care of negative self-talk with like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. The cognitive behavioral therapy CBT, not the other type of CBT. We've all seen the comic. And so there's that one. And that's where you just learn how to ignore certain thoughts and focus on different ones and follow different
And
ones.
fight them.
Yeah.
And fight the bad ones.
Yeah. And kind of understand that those thoughts come from things that are out of your control. And just be like, okay, well, I had the thought, but that doesn't necessarily define me. Then there's DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy, which is where you're learning that emotions also come from a place that is beyond you. Emotions are
I was
primal.
thinking that was like shock therapy, where they just slap electrodes on your head and you.
I mean, there's
I guess
that
that's
as
a
well,
different
but
guy.
they don't really do that. They won't really do that outside of a mental health hospital.
And finally, there's always the very critical method of lobotomy.
Wouldn't recommend that one.
Don't recommend that one. Yeah.
Yeah. So with DBT, they'll teach you that emotions tend to come, well, they come from your subconscious. There's no tend to. And when they bubble up, it's literally your body responding to things. Your subconscious, looking at everything that's happened to you, all the trauma that you've had, all of your experiences, and it is trying to come up with the best solution to that to give you emotionally. And every type of trauma that you have that's unresolved, your subconscious is going to be aware of that, and that's why you're getting that emotional response. If you've ever had an experience where you see something and then for some reason you get terrified and you can't understand why, that's because your brain has associated that something with trauma. So, just keep that in mind. There's also something that's absolutely crucial here. And that is, the sooner you feel an emotion and process it, the sooner that emotion goes away. If you don't process that emotion, you just sort of bury it, it stays there until you process it. And what's really crappy about that is that as it stays there, it basically rots and becomes this horrific, fetid version of itself. So every time you touch it, you will recoil because you just touched something that is rotten and just horrific. Like oil, if you will. If you've ever had the experience where you touch an emotion or a memory that you had, and then it feels like you're an inch deep inside, like as soon as you go with, an inch or a centimeter deep inside of yourself, it just feels like a void that's filled with oil or something like that, some black ichor. That's that emotion. And your body just doesn't know how to deal with it. That's also called trauma. The trauma feels similar to that. So you want to process that stuff. You don't have to do it alone. Go get a therapist. But again, it's very much you have to do this thing. The therapist isn't going to snap their fingers and boom, you're fixed. So
and the good thing is, like, Carl's got someone in this case that has gone to therapy before too. And so it kind of remembers what it's like, and it was kind of what he's talking about here. So we can probably just go on now. Go for it, Chase.
Excellent. I laugh along with him. Yeah, I can remember what that's like. He watches me for a few seconds.
So, is that all? So is all that... Are all those problems you had taken care of now?
I hope so. We lay in silence for a little while before I finally speak up. Listen, I'll probably come back a few times this week to work on that history stuff. Oh, well, why we don't go out and, well, why don't we go out and do something?
That would be nice.
Exposure therapy.
Hey, that just reminded me of something. It says, why don't we go out and do something? And like, the Marvel Comics kind of stuff. The Watchers just two Watchers talking back and forth is basically, should we do something? We should do something. Should we do something? We should do something.
Yes. By the way, guys, just to add on to that, there's meditation therapy, there's hypnotherapy, there's all kinds of stuff.
And if you're religious, there's also religious therapy. There's also religious therapy that puts that in. There's even music and art therapy. So.
Yeah, and writing therapy, all kinds of stuff.
And actually, on that note, art, journaling, just feeling stuff with music, like that's really powerful. So if you think that would help you, if that's just how you feel and process your grief, like right now, like you draw it out or you listen to it to pull those emotions out, just find someone who can do that for you.
Yeah.
And that can help process it so fast and you feel so much better, so much faster.
Yeah, and I'll be completely honest with you all, like, from what I've seen of people doing this kind of stuff, like they come in and they think, oh, well, I'm going to do this therapy stuff, or I'm going to talk about my emotions and all of this, and it's this really crappy poem that I wrote. And then people are going to point and laugh at me, and people think this. And then you do this rendition of this poem where, like, it's a huge emotional release for you as you're telling this story. As you were writing, it was a huge release. And then as you're telling this, this poem, this story, this whatever, like, people aren't like, ha! Gay! Like, no, people aren't doing that. Instead,
people react really well to, like, that kind of vulnerability.
Yeah.
It's scary to be vulnerable, but when people notice that, like there's a vulnerable emotion being expressed, they usually become real serious and I'm like, oh, this is some heavy shit. It's time for me to act, like a friend, not like a 7-year-old child who thinks that all that's something to be teased and taunted about. Adults react really well.
Yeah, and there's the other thing of, like, if you go to an event where you're going to share that kind of poetry, everybody else who's at that event is also there to share that kind of poetry or art or story. So they're all going to react really well. And I will guarantee you this right now, if there is somebody there who starts laughing and mocking you, everybody else there is going to be like, yo, bruh, you can leave or you can shut the hell up. And like, you're going to go from feeling like you are completely alone to realizing that everybody in that room, except for that one person, pretty much has your back. And you'll make a ton of friends. So,
yeah. There'd probably be one big guy there, kind of taps the guy on the, guy who was laughing on the shore and says, I think you need to leave before you're made to leave.
Dude. Like, so many veterans, especially the ones who had combat jobs, like, they have so much trauma and PTSD. If they do start going to these groups, they pretty much just stay with them forever. Like, they just hang out. Like, you don't want to be the guy who mocks whoever's up there, and then it's like some guy who has like who's killed like hundreds of people over his career, sort of walking up and being like, you gotta leave right now. Otherwise you're not gonna have arms or legs.
Basically, John Wick gets up to you and says, yeah, time for you to leave.
I just told you.
Yeah, I was just leaving.
It's like, dude, I just told you the story about my dog.
Yeah. You're about to be the next Vito.
Yeah. You don't want to be that guy. Don't worry.
Don't do that.
Yeah, usually
Alright,
at a lot of these events, there's also some sort of therapist or somebody that's running it who has the authority to throw people out. So just go, enjoy, don't worry about it. If you really, 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 really need to talk to people, go to Alcoholics Anonymous or some other event like that. There's usually people from like rehabs or mental health clinics who are there with other people and will be more than happy to hand you a card, and then you can reach out and just learn about all the therapists that work with these groups. So
yeah.
there's tons and tons of resources out there. Don't feel bad.
It can be scary, but don't be too afraid to go. And if you need someone to help, if you have close friends, just ask one of them.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you got someone who can take you up there, be with you, and be like your buddy, kind of like your wingman, but for therapy and working on yourself.
Yeah, and also one thing that is absolutely vital that I've actually sort of seen some people don't understand is that people who are therapists, they are therapists because they actually want to help you. They're not like laughing at you behind your back.
It's not a money thing. They don't make enough money for it to be a money thing. It's almost altruism at some point.
Yeah. Like they understand how good they're going to feel as well. And so they're helping you because helping you helps them. So
you get a hella good, like, not that it's the reason why, but you feel really damn good about helping someone else who really needs it.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're making a difference.
Yeah. So, just keep that in mind. They're not making fun of you. They're not mocking you behind your back or anything. Like, if you I could go into a therapist's office and be like, I wear a pink tutu on Thursdays and I feel amazing. And then they would just be like, okay, do you want to wear a pink tutu to therapy? We can get one. I mean, I don't wear a pink tutu on Thursdays, but that's Tuesday. No, I'm kidding. But,
He wears his on Wednesdays and it's purple.
that would be hilarious. But like, they're not like laughing at you or mocking you. They're just like, okay, sounds good. Do you enjoy it? Why do you enjoy it? Right? They are there to help you. Are you ready to move on?
Okay. Yes. Go for it, Chase.
I grin, glad at making Carl feel better. Cool. Let's plan on it. Carl puts his paw behind his head and smiles.
It's cool that you're here, Chase.
Yeah, it's cool to be here, Carl.
And not just because it's nice to have someone to talk to.
Oh?
No. This house is fucking haunted. Also, sorry, Chase.
Chase goes, what?
Sorry.
What are you talking? And then it hits him. Oh, Carl! Oh, the smell!
Nothing personal, kid. Ugh.
Hot fuzz, baby!
It's Jaundice. She's in the room.
Oh no, it's Jaundice.
Sorry, had something stanky. All right, go ahead.
She's not even wearing pants.
Takes up half the room.
That's what those creaking floors were.
That's what the haunt is.
You can smell her coming a mile away. I don't remember falling asleep, but it's at that moment that something wakes me up. I jolt, then lay there, trying to remember where I am. Carl's house, that's right. I stare at the ceiling, wondering what time it is. I don't bother to look at my phone, though, because I'm already starting to fall back asleep. A scraping noise from beneath me makes me jump, and I prop myself up on my elbows, listening. Looking over, I see Carl staring at the ceiling, eyes wide. Carl? I whispered. I'm not sure why. He jumps, then looks at me, confused, like he'd just woken up.
Huh?
Are you okay?
Yeah. What's wrong?
I think I hear something. His floppy ears perk up.
I don't.
Then his eyes widen. Although I didn't hear anything right then, he definitely did. You hear it?
Yeah, like a scraping noise I told you about.
Yeah. He looks happy.
Ah! Oh! So I'm not fucking crazy!
We both sit there and listen for a while, but it sounds like it stopped.
Wanna go see what?
Suddenly his eyes widen and his muzzle drops open in shock. I stare back. What?
Did you fucking hear that?
I listen, feeling my heartbeat pick up now that Carl looks fucking terrified, but I don't hear anything. What?
It's a voice! It sounds like jaundice!
Ah! The fur raises up all over my body as I listen. But nothing. Carl definitely seems convinced, though. So I listen harder. I just start to make out what might be a voice when Carl sits up next to me and gets out of bed. I feel myself start to panic. Some crazy hobo break into the house? Carl gets off the couch.
Come on!
What? What the fuck are we gonna do? Let's call the cops.
No! Let's make sure first. This has happened before.
What? What do you mean? He puts a finger up to his lips.
Grab something. Jaundice breaks in. A plate full of food and says, here's your normal. Here's your here's your regular order.
What? I
Yeah.
Someone's gonna take that out of context. And they're gonna be like, oh, I follow. I follow.
I fondle.
I follow
Ouch.
Carl. I follow Carl out into the kitchen and he starts rummaging through the drawers. I follow him, hugging my shoulders, feeling a lot colder right now. With the sound of metal sliding against metal, Carl pulls out a giant steak knife. What the fuck?
Dude, I've been hearing this shit for the past month, and I've been too scared to go down there. But now, with you here,
He flashes me a smile.
I'm gonna find out what the fuck this is!
Here.
Here.
He
It's
reaches.
dangerous to go alone.
Take
Take
this.
this.
He reaches into a spot between the fridge and the wall and pulls out a broom before sticking it out to me. I take it slowly. What the hell am I supposed to do with this?
Hit him! Come on! You know, it's like I get the big Gatling gun, you get the noisy cricket.
Carl starts down the stairs and I follow behind him, holding the broomstick in front of me like a sword. I've never had to hit anyone with a stick before. I have no idea what I'm doing. Once we get to the small door leading down into the crawl space, Carl pauses and we both listen. It's silent for a while. Then... Shit. Carl looks at me like I'm crazy, not reacting to the noise at all.
Shush!
I lean down, a paw on the handle. Looking back at me, he signals me with his eyes to be ready. I grip onto the broom like a lifeline as I wait for him to swing the door open, and when he does... darkness.
Shit!
So whatever's down here is just slinking around in complete darkness.
Hey!
Carl says it unconvincingly, the fear in his voice. Then, after looking at me,
Fuck it!
he jumps down into the crawl space. He jumps down into the crawl space, disappearing into the dark. Carl! I stumble up to the edge of the steps, trying to squint into the black. I hear Carl to the right, rustling around and cursing. That's when light floods the crawl space. I quickly wobble down the steps, knowing that if whatever is down here is going to try to escape, it would be running right into me. Finally, I have a moment to catch my breath, standing several feet behind Carl as I look around, broom at the ready.
Huh? There's nothing here. What the fuck?
Sure enough, the crawl space looks empty. There aren't many places to hide either. What the hell's going on, Carl? But he doesn't answer me. He's staring at the bins. Did you put the bins back? Wait, that's you.
Did you put the bins back?
I look down at the bins. I look down, and the bins are gone. Maybe it was a ghost?
Ghost! Oh no! We're Scooby!
We need some Scooby snacks. We need some Carl snacks.
Carl snacks. We need some Leos.
Yeah. We need some Leo's.
Yes, he's the goodest boy.
Leoreos. Leos. I look back at where they were originally, and sure enough, they're neatly stacked right where we found them. I honestly don't remember. Did I move them back? Maybe it would be something I might do? I try, but I just can't remember. Maybe?
Dude, come on.
I really don't remember. Carl walks further towards the back, ears perked, looking left and right as he clutches his knife. I start to follow, but that's when I notice something at the left of my vision on the ground. Looking down, I see something fat and hairy ambling slowly over the tarp. A giant fucking tarantula. The following few moments are a blur, but the next thing I know, I'm going up the stairs on my feet and paws, grabbing at the door frame to pull myself up.
Chase! What the fuck happened?
I can hear him running up behind me, so I turn to warn him. Look out! A big spider. The breath keeps catching in my throat. I think I'm hyperventilating. I'm still clutching at the door frame as follow Carl's me.
Should have follow Carl's me. Dyslexia, everyone.
Yes, this is literally dyslexia. I'm still clutching at the door frame as Carl follows up behind me, his eyes wide.
What? Come on, Chase, this is crazy!
No, huge! A blonde!
No fucking way!
Now he looks excited and he turns back to the crawl space. I feel numb right now. This is all too much to handle. What the fuck is even going on?
Which way?
Shakily, I point towards where the spider was crawling. Carl squints, then walks down the steps, looking around. Careful!
If it was really a blonde, there's not much to worry about. I hear they're actually pretty gentle, and they taste real good.
He just eats them all. I'm just waiting to hear, ow! There's just a blonde tarantula hanging from his neck. He's like, oh, oh!
It's just like the Minecraft sounds of eating, but there's like blonde legs that's flying through the air all around him.
I gulp and I don't say anything. My head is pounding and buzzing, which, for some reason, doesn't exactly feel like it has anything to do with the adrenaline rush. It's more like a bad headache. Carl looks around a while longer while I focus on the steps. Yep. Making sure nothing starts crawling up them. I don't even care about the possible hobo anymore. Finally, Carl comes back, looking confused.
Well, there's nothing there. You know, Sometimes I see shit when I'm really tired. Want to go back upstairs?
There's nothing there. This can't be happening again.
Oh, fuck you!
Alright, cool.
I think this is where we're gonna leave it, right? Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh my goodness, it's Wednesday!
I know
Oh,
we need to cover our eyes and be like, oh please, no.
oh please! I'm such a scaredy cat to spiders!
Then we need to hug ourselves. Oh no, I'm so scared.
No! No! Chase is such a wuss.
This is like the first time Chase has done that to my knowledge so far.
Please!
Chase is such a girl. He's like, no.
Mom!
But all right. That is where we're going to cut it for tonight, everyone. I will see you all later.
Yes, we will see you next time. And until then, bye.
See you guys next time on Most Extreme Elimination Challenge Echo Edition.